When I say purpose-built, it wasn't to control the equipment. That was already done. That was Industry 3.0, the automation. We were going beyond that and looking at operations and providing feedback and allowing our customers to do better with what they had, get more out of what they had. Was TrakSYS everything that is today? Absolutely not. So we didn't try to boil the ocean, we just took it step at a time. But the beauty of that was it was based on a framework that wasn't a patchwork of other things that we were trying to fit together to do something. After I finished graduate school, I was hired at an aerospace company, and I realized how in the Stone Ages they were, compared to the cutting edge technologies that at the time we were using at school. I tried to help them with adopting and adapting new technologies. Now remember, these days we have technology on our person. In those days, there were no personal computers. If you wanted to have something typed, you would go to the department secretary. From the perspective of the business, a lot of things that we had to test and verify for mission critical things like fighter aircraft, they were done based on technologies from the 40s. So I tried to bring in that digital aspects to do automated testing, to verify the capabilities of the systems that were going into these critical systems, critical aircraft. And there was a huge amount of resistance. So that became really the genesis of the company as it is today. I figured, you know what? If they're not listening to it, I can go out and start a business and try to help from the outside. So that's exactly what I did. So I started Parsec in 1987, and the company that I was working for became our first customer. The idea of TrakSYS, our MES solution platform, was germinated in the early 90s. So we developed the first version of that in 1994. It was a pioneer in the industry because there was no formally and purpose-built application that was dedicated to managing the manufacturing operations and its KPIs. We were not selling the product as a product. We were using it as a tool for our own system integration opportunities for our customers. As human beings, we are innovation focused. And just take a look at the history of humankind. We are progressively looking for better ways of doing things, the better mousetrap, right? So when you take a look at the complex manufacturing, there are a lot of challenges in getting a good, high quality product out. So you're always on the lookout to do it better. MES in a semi-formal way started showing up in the 1990s. Some of the more pioneering manufacturers who had large-scale operations, they were looking for managing those activities throughout their value stream as related to manufacturing much better. Be more scalable, more economical, having higher yields in the process. The way it started happening was through system integration. So they would bring in an outfit and they would explain the problem statement, and something highly customized and bespoke would evolve out of those requirements. So not very methodical, as I said, mostly ad hoc and one-off solution. So you would end up after a relatively long time at a high cost with high resources with a solution that somewhat worked. Remember, we are talking 1990s, the technology was also different. Expectations were different too. But then that manufacturer would like to replicate that solution somewhere else, but since it was custom, it didn't fit. So there was very little reuse. They would end up having to redo that specific to the next site, the next location. So the idea was grand, but the adoption of it wasn't very good. because it cost too much. So there were good intentions to go ahead and do something like MES, but in reality, very few could do it. So there were many, many attempts to doing it, but it wasn't going very far. In the 2000s, you started seeing more methodical applications, software applications that were meant to address MES functionality. Typically, the way they did that was bringing together many point solutions and kind of, I keep calling it rubber banding them together to address the challenges that they had. That in itself started creating additional problems in that still there was a lot of integration between these different and disparate systems. And still, the path to having a sustainable, scalable solution was fraught with all sorts of obstacles. So high cost of development and adoption, high cost of ownership, more and more with more advanced technologies, web-based, browser-based applications where you didn't have to be so dependent on the infrastructure for the solution, with better networking capabilities, with more options for connectivity and data collection. The idea of MES became much more tenable. So, but still, the tools, the actual MES tools that were purpose-built for this reason, for this execution, weren't there. I think that's where we shine, because we had designed TrakSYS for this purpose. It was one unified application that addressed the high challenge of integrating the different pieces together to end up with a cohesive solution that addressed the whole life cycle of capturing data, transforming it, applying business rules to it, and make it valuable in terms of consumption by shop floor people, analysts, and business leaders of the company. The transition now is, I think, full swing. There are companies like Parsec who have built purpose-built solutions that are looking at the value stream of manufacturing, the different disciplines, whether it's quality management, maintenance management, material management, traceability, regulatory compliance, managing the KPIs, managing the business intelligence. So the idea, and specifically with Industry 4.0, is to have a command of what is going on. So the progression here was, all right, we need to go to a system that is as digital as possible, bring as much data in, and apply that data to the business rules and to the business requirements, and create real-time or near real-time information that becomes actionable. The various users of the system, whether they're on the shop floor in real time, they need to be able to look at things, be alerted, be informed, make good decisions, and then one step removed, analysts to be able to take a look at the trends and see what they need to do to orchestrate the manufacturing process better. And of course, those in the business side, on the finance side, to take a look and see what are the implications of their supply chain partnerships, inventory on hand. So now, after, let's say, 30 plus years that the acronym MES has been bandied about, we are in a situation where you absolutely can have sustainable, scalable, economical solutions. We designed TrakSYS with very, very specific ideas in mind. It was designed out of a need. Imagine you're driving your car and it doesn't have a gas gauge, right? So you don't know how far you have to go, or your car doesn't have side view mirrors, so you don't see what is coming. So it just is a hazardous way of operating, right? So plants were operating like that. That's where the idea of TrakSYS came up, that, we need to build something that is not just automating the machines, but also give information give intelligence to the users so they see what they're getting, they see what's coming at them, so they can adjust, they can adapt. Those are the kinds of things that became the purpose of TrakSYS. TrakSYS started not being an automation tool, but being an operations tool to give intelligence. It progressively became more and more complete around the idea of managing operations and execution. There are enough complexities out there. We don't want to be additive to that complexity. We want to be reducing those. So the design of the product was based on that ideology to make sure it's as simple as possible. Basically, TrakSYS replaces many, many point solutions. And the value of that is that you have a container and platform that has a unified data model, a unified user interface and user experience, and will bring a lot of information that has context and value to the different echelons of users. Being committed to the as simple as possible is a mantra. It's a way of being. You know, in your personal life, in business, you don't want to complicate things, right? So the idea is, hey, yeah, you know, if I did it marginally better, that's fine. But the commitment to making it as simple as possible is going to require real thought process, real commitment to that vision, and staying with it. It's not, okay, we made it as simple as possible here, and then we introduced something over here that just negated everything that we did there as simple as possible. We don't want to do that. So as simple as possible is a way of being, and it's a commitment that you have to remember to stay with. It's a process, and you don't want to trivialize the process and say it's simple. It's not. TrakSYS was designed to really help those manufacturers that had complex, high volume, high speed operations. We designed it for solutions that had higher value, higher velocity, high complexity, and they were not really oriented to significant manual labor. Those businesses that fall into any one of those high speed, high volume, high complexity will benefit quite significantly because, and you know, hazardous environments as well, you know, where you don't want to expose people to what is going on out there. By using a tool like TrakSYS, you will harness the capabilities of the technology to reduce waste, to speed up production, time to value, time to market. So now that low margin product that you were making actually has pretty decent margin, and you can take away the cost pressures that may make your product less valuable to the consumers out there. So again, those customers or those manufacturers who are in higher volume, margin sensitive, complex operations will benefit quite significantly from using a tool like TrakSYS. You have a blueprint for success. What are the resources that you need? What is the time frame that you need? What kind of budget do you need? What kind of technology partners do you need? So all of these are critical parts of success. So for you to experience the highest ROI based on why you're doing it and what you want out of this, you have to go through this process of, again, blueprinting the how, the strategy based on the desired outcomes. So it is really important to be mindful of these things and look at the undertaking as a very serious, ongoing business, an activity that you don't just say, hey, okay, we've decided to go ahead and buy TrakSYS, well, we're done. No, you're not. You haven't even started the journey. So the commitment to understanding what it takes to do it and to be successful and to be able to adjust and pivot, because in life, things don't go exactly to plan. A lot of messy things are going to happen. Disruptions are going to happen, whether it's economical, is it supply chain. It might be any number of issues that will come up. You need to be committed to the journey. You need to be committed to the process. And then you don't say, oh, it just didn't work out. That attitude is a killer of the ROI. You got to be committed to it, and you need to non-trivialize what it is. You got to give it the respect of the effort that is needed, the investment that is needed, and you need to stay with it. If you heed these and you're committed, the outcomes are going to be very, very good. And you're going to be very delighted with the results and the outcomes that you will get.